and I won't back down. Hey, baby, there ain't no easy way out.
All right, if you suffer from chronic pain, listen up. Here's a way to help you get real relief. As a fitness fanatic myself, I understand that recovery is just as important as the workout itself. But whether you're recovering from an injury or just looking for everyday relief from pain in your joints and muscles, nerve pain, fibrosis, and inflammation, I recommend Golden Revive Plus from Up Wellness. This advanced all-natural formula combines 6 powerful anti-inflammatory ingredients, including a proprietary turmeric extract that's 200 times stronger than raw turmeric. All of this to address the root cause of your pain, reducing scarring, swelling, and tissue damage using the healing powers of nature to help your body heal itself. Formulated by husband and wife team Doctors Josh and Amanda Levitt, Golden Revive Plus gives you real pain relief and better range of motion, plus better heart, eye, and brain health. Join the over 300,000 Americans who are already using Golden Revive Plus to get and stay pain-free. For a limited time, you can try Golden Revive Plus for 30% off at goldenrevive.com. Just use promo code TRUMP at checkout. Tonight, we are joined by Medal of Honor recipient, Major General Pat Brady. Pat, thank you so much. It's such an honor to have you on the show. I just want to start by saying thank you so much for your service to our country. We are incredibly grateful for you and so many like you who really have allowed us to live in the greatest country on earth. And we appreciate everything. I want to go back at the very beginning here for people, because for someone as decorated as yourself who has served our country so well, I think it would surprise a lot of people to learn that while in college, you participated in the ROTC and hated it, but then you ended up rejoining. So tell me that story. How did all this work out?
Well, that's right. I did hate it. When I came out of high school, I had an opportunity to play football at several different universities around the Northwest. However, at the time, I was stalking this foxy chick.
Oh, no.
The foxy chick was going to a university that did not have a football team.
Oh.
But it had ROTC and it was mandatory. Now I got to make a choice. I got no money. I follow the foxy chick or I play football. So I made the best decision of my life. I went to the same university she went to, but I had to join ROTC. Now, I didn't believe that those people could make me wear that uniform, march. I couldn't keep step, but they could and they did, and I didn't like it. So after the second year, I think it was, they told me, Brady, you got to go to summer camp. I didn't like that either. I decided I'm going to go to Alaska. I need to make some money. I want to marry that gal. And so I went to Alaska. I was a heavy equipment operator on the railroad, making big bucks, beautiful, hunting, fishing.
Oh, wow.
And the foxy chick says, her name was Nancy Lee. She said, you got to go back to school. So I said, damn. So mama speaks, you know how that goes. So amazingly, when I got back to Seattle University, you know, in our life, we'll meet somebody that makes a difference. And there was Major Snyder there. And he said, Brady, we'll take you back. I would have had to go in the military anyhow. I'd have been drafted as an enlisted guy. If I go through ROTC, I go in as an officer. So my wife, of course, make more money as an officer. She wanted me to be an officer. So he took me back. And as a junior, I think I was the lowest ranking junior in the history of ROTC at Seattle University, but I did all right. I was a distinguished military graduate. I went in, my first assignment was Berlin, Germany, and still I didn't want to make a career out of it, but I met some incredible soldiers in Berlin. I served with Norm Schwarzkopf. My commander was a guy named Fred Wyan, became Chief of Staff of the Army. My God, they gave us, I'm a crummy second lieutenant, they gave us an apartment there, had a babysitter and a maid. Are you kidding me?
Oh, wow.
And so it was, and the shopping in the East was wonderful. And then one day they put a barbed wire across the city. and everything went to hell. They started building a wall. My babysitter's fiance lived in the East. She never saw him again.
Oh,
The
wow.
maid, her parents were in the East, and she was not allowed to go to their funeral. And so
Oh,
it just
my
kind of
gosh.
opened my eyes. What in the hell is this thing called communism? This is crazy. They were shooting their own people off the wall, and I was a medical platoon leader, and we had to clean up the mess.
Wow.
So one thing led to another, and after 35 years, it was the best thing that ever happened.
Wow. Well, I was going to say sometimes the things that you initially start out not liking or being very resistant to, sometimes those are the things that actually you look back on and you say, I'm so glad that happened. That otherwise think about how differently your life would have turned out, obviously. How did you end up flying helicopters, though? Because it is a bit of a leap from ROTC to then saying, I'm going to fly helicopters, which is obviously sort of that was your gig. That was what you excelled at, right?
Yes, in fact, I was the greatest helicopter pilot that ever lived. Now there'll be people who will debate that, but that's the truth.
I love that.
When I was in the 8th grade, I was in a boarding school, and some rich guy came to the school, and it was a birthday or something like that, and he said, "We're going to give you guys a ride in an L-19, a small fixed wing out at Bowling Field, 20-minute ride, just as a present." And so he did. And from that moment on, I knew that someday I would fly. And so every time I had a change of assignment, I would apply for flight school or jump school or ranger school because you made more money doing that. And I was interested in I had a lot of kids by that time. So I got flight school, and that was, and then I volunteered to go to Vietnam.
Well, I obviously it worked out, and I love that you say you were the greatest helicopter pilot to ever live. I know that people these days, we need some good stories. We're so immersed in so much right now, Pat, that it feels like, tell us a good story. So we never get tired of hearing a good story, especially a story of courage. So tell our viewers why you were awarded the Medal of Honor.
I always say I'm too humble to say what an incredible hero I am, but the truth of the matter is that I was what you call a dust-off pilot. I was a helicopter ambulance pilot. Our job every single day was to go into the battlefield and rescue the wounded. When I came to Vietnam early on, it was the first time that the helicopter had been used to evacuate wounded from the battlefield. My commander was a guy named Charles Kelly, and that they were trying to take the Red Cross off the helicopter and make it portable and use it for everything else in the meantime. So he said they can't do that, that we got to have this dedicated resource, save lives, humma. And it was a fight between him and General Stilwell. Now, this was Vinegar Joe's son. Many people have heard of Vinegar Joe Stilwell from World War II. We call him Cider Joe, but not to his face. And he was trying to get our helicopters, and Kelly was in the fight with them. Both of them are World War II veterans. Kelly's meaner than hell, and so is Stilwell. Kelly was out of World War II. He was court-martialed like 3 times.
Oh, wow.
So he was stubborn, and he started to fly for the first time to use an American resource to pick up men, women, children. We were there only for American casualties, and there were very few of them in the early days. And so he used that medical resource, that American resource, to carry indigenous people of that country, men, women, children, enemy as well as friendly. And so he went into an area one day and to pick up some patients, and then they started taking fire. And then they started screaming at him, "Get out, get out." And he said, "When I have your wounded." And
Wow.
after he said that, he took a round right through the heart. His last words were, "My God." He clutched, turned the helicopter, destroyed it. There was a doctor on board. The doctor pulled him out of the helicopter. Everybody was wounded, but he was the only one that was killed.
Wow.
And so his dying words, "When I have your wounded," set the standard for helicopter evacuation to this day. His call sign, Dust Off, is the call sign of helicopter ambulances all over the world to this day. General Westmoreland was at his funeral. Stillwell cried when he heard that Kelly was dead. And so that's the story of Dust Off. Now, you're too young to know about. And by the way, I noticed that when I married the Foxy chick, our wedding was 12 October.
Oh, it's a good date.
It's a great date.
It's my birthday.
I know.
Good choices. I like that.
So anyhow, they tried to make us change our ways, but we didn't do it. We kept flying the way Kelly taught us to fly. Now, here's what really bugs me. We came back from Vietnam, we were not treated very well. The American people, though, now recognize the honorable service of the Vietnam veteran, but not the Congress. Every war that we've ever fought, every battlefield that we've ever been on, there have been units and people awarded the Congressional Gold Medal, not Vietnam. Senator Cornyn introduced a Congressional Gold Medal for the Dust Off cruise in Vietnam 8 years ago, and it still has not been approved.
Really?
It's amazing. I have to bring that up wherever. Now, think about this.
Wow.
Your odds of dying in a jungle in Vietnam, if you were shot, are less than if you were in an accident in the highway in America.
Wow.
10% of our casualty of our troops that served in Vietnam became casualties. 1% of those that Dust Off picked up and brought to a medical facility died. 1%. Twice as much Korea, 4 times as much in World War II.
Yeah.
No record comes close to
What a
the
difference,
survival rates of the guy in Vietnam.
Yeah.
So we found ways to get into the battlefield that never been done before, and it was probably the most successful battlefield operating system ever. If you talk about infantry, artillery, armor, mech, aviation, there was never any battlefield operating system as effective and as efficient as the Dust Off cruise in Vietnam.
Now, you might have heard Mike Lindell and MyPillow no longer have the support of their box stores or shopping channels the way they used to. They've been part of cancel culture. So now they want to pass the savings directly on to you by having a $25 extravaganza. When Mike started MyPillow, it was just a one-product company. But with the help of his dedicated employees, they now have hundreds of products, some you may not even know about. To get the word out, I want to invite my listeners to check out their $25 extravaganza. 2-pack multi-use MyPillows, just $25. MyPillow sandals, $25. Their 6-pack towel sets, $25. Brand new 4-pack dish towels, you guessed it, just $25. For the first time ever, the premium MyPillows with all new Giza fabric, just $25. Orders over $75 will receive free shipping. This amazing offer will not last long, so go to mypillow.com and use promo code Trump or call 800-624-3945 today. All right, so tell me about your medal, though. How did you get your Medal of Honor?
Well, I wasn't on duty that day. And so we had found ways. When I came back my second tour, the weather and night was killing more of our pilots than the enemy.
Wow.
The odds of getting wounded if you were a Dust Off crewman were 1 in 3. 1 out of every 3 Dust Off crewmen became a casualty. And flying Dust Off was 3.5 times more dangerous than any other kind of flying. So the night and the weather was killing us. And so I got a lot of young pilots. And I know they're not going to stop. Nothing's going to stop them from getting that patient. But Mother Nature will kill you if you're not careful. And so I'm worried, praying like crazy. What am I? And they're all right out of flight school. None of them had any experience in combat at all. 2 months after flight school, they're flying combat missions and getting shot up on a weekly basis. So one day I get a call from, I'm worried about the weather. So one day I get a call from the troops, and they're on a mountaintop. And the weather came down about 1,500 feet on top of the mountain. It was clear underneath. The kid was bit by a snake.
Oh my gosh.
And snakes in Vietnam, you know, it's kind of like if you get bit, you just lay down so you don't hurt yourself falling. They were deadly. So we went out under the stuff, and I tried to go into it, straight into it. And you know, if you don't have two reference points, you don't know if you're upside down or right side up. It was all strictly IFR. I did it 3 or 4 times. They're screaming at me, and the crew is getting nervous. I said, okay, guys, we got one more time. We'll give it a shot. And this time when I went up, I got hit by a breath of God. It was wind. It blew me sideways. And I looked out my window, and guess what? I can see the rotor disc, and I can see the top of the trees.
Oh, wow.
I know I'm right side up. So I turned that sucker sideways, and I hovered up into the area, and I got the guy. We got him to the hospital, and I think he lived. So from that time on, the low valley fog, 500 feet snowbank, mountaintop build up in the afternoon, never stopped us. And that was the technique that I used on the day that I got the medal. Now, we used 3 helicopters, and a couple of our crewmen got wounded. And here's the beautiful thing about an award, that my guys were doing this. They weren't doing the weather stuff because they were too inexperienced for that, but they were getting shot up every day. They were doing everything I was doing. The beautiful thing about it is somebody saw it, somebody appreciated it, and somebody took the time to write it up. It's just that simple.
Wow. Well, it's very impressive, and no less the fact that you say you were not actually supposed to be on duty that day, right? You've essentially volunteered for this mission.
Well, it was a weather mission. They knew I could fly it. So they called me. They had tried 7 or 8 times to get these people out, and they couldn't do it. Their 2 aircraft had been shot down. And, you know, being the greatest helicopter pilot that ever lived, I was very hard to kill. And so they knew that. And by the way, volunteer, that, you know, I hear that said, but it was never a question of volunteering. I mean, this was our job. It's like, do you volunteer to go to work in the day? No, you just go to work. It's your job. It's your duty. You go to work. So to give you an idea of what this unit did, visualize this. You got 40 men. You got 6 helicopters. At any one time, you got 3 flyable Hueys. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful Huey. And by the way, they just named one after my wife. 3 Hueys flyable at any one time. And those 40 men in a 9.5-month period picked up 21,000 patients.
Wow. 40
men, 26 Purple Hearts. That means they were shot, some of them more than once, but nobody was killed. And that was kind of a routine work. I think our unit was up there among the most patients carried, but there was other units that had more patients carried and probably had the same Purple Hearts. And we had an aircraft shot up, as I said, every 7 of our 6 aircraft were shot up every month. Wow. So very busy unit, very, very effective in what we did.
Yeah. I mean, it's incredible, honestly. And, you know, as we are 4th of July, this is the day that we celebrate America, and we remember why this country was founded, what it is that, you know, our men and women like yourself are fighting for out there every single day. What are some words of wisdom, General, that you can give maybe especially young people today for the 4th of July? I feel like our younger generations are maybe being taught not to love this country as much as I grew up loving it, as much as you grew up loving it. What are some maybe words of wisdom or advice that you might give to
how much time we got? We got little time left, or does it matter? I just came back from a trip to Normandy on the 80th anniversary of Normandy. I went over there with 100 World War II veterans.
Wow,
they
incredible.
were average age 99, all of them in wheelchairs. The oldest guy was 107. They asked me to lay a wreath one day with the guy that was 107. I went over to push him. He stood up. He insisted on walking up to lay that wreath. Every one of them, when they played the national anthem, wherever we went, we were over there for about 10 days, wherever they went, they stood up. And if they couldn't stand up on they were all in wheelchairs. If they couldn't stand up on their own, they were lifted up. These guys made sure they were lifted up. These guys are so much tougher than we are. It's not even close. Here's what we tell the young people. In the Medal of Honor Society, we have a character development program. And so I tell the kids, all right, here, in a very few minutes, I'm going to teach you the key to success in life. I'm going to teach you the key to happiness in life. And I'm going to tell you the key to the future of America. So are you ready for this?
I'm ready. Yeah, I need it too.
The key to, when you talk, and we talk to thousands of kids across America every year. We've been doing this for 20 years. We go into the classrooms. And the young people, they know, as they look around, they know that we're not all born equal. Certainly not in terms of ability, certainly not in terms of opportunity. Now, we are created equal. God does that. But we're not born with equal ability or equal opportunity. But in the only way that matters, we are all born equal. What is that? Courage. You can have all the courage you want. You can't use it up, and it's the key to success in life. It produces successful people from those among us who were not given great ability or great opportunity. So once they know that, it destroys all the excuses that they might have for mediocrity or failure. It becomes a choice and not chance. By the way, what's the key to courage? Faith. In my case, I was never afraid in combat. My faith was a substitute for fear. It allowed me to do things that I would have not otherwise been able to do. Wow. Key to happiness in life, sacrifice. It's a different kind of sacrifice. No bottom line. All it will do, and this is a sacrifice of parents, of soldiers, of policemen, of firemen, of the leaders of this country, the good ones. It will not, no bottom line, no quid pro quo. It will only increase your capacity for more sacrifice. And that will increase your capacity for leadership, for happiness itself. And I think that the person's capacity for sacrifice is ultimate measure of goodness in a human being. Finally, patriotism. You know, and I campaigned for President Trump the last couple times. I organized Medal of Honor guys for him. So we're very much into patriotism and leadership and those kinds of things. Country can't survive. The ultimate victory of every warrior is peace. Peace is a function of strength. Strength comes from the patriotism of our people. We're losing that among our young people. There's no question about it. And we find it in the classrooms. Mm-hmm. So I have a vignette, a war story that I tell to bring out patriotism when we talk to the young people. And it's about a great black soldier. His name was Webster Anderson. He's on a mountaintop in Vietnam during a tropical storm. In the initial attack, the communists pretty much take off both of his legs. He keeps fighting. They attack again. They throw a hand grenade into his position. He catches the grenade and throws it clear of his men, but it pretty much takes off his arm. I flew in that night, and I picked up what was left of Webster and his wounded men, and I took him to the hospital. Amazingly, they were able to save his life, but cost him 2 legs and 1 arm. So, and also earned him the Medal of Honor. So Webster and I became very close, and we would go to these classes, like I say, our character development program, and we'd prop Webster up there. He was more plastic than he was flesh. 1 arm was a cane. And we're in a school in Oklahoma, and one of the kids raises his hand and says, "Mr. Anderson, knowing what you know now, that it would cost you 2 legs and 1 arm, would you do it again?" And Webster raised his good arm and he says, "Young man," he says, "I've only got 1 arm left, but my country can have it any time they want."
Wow.
Now you talk about patriotism and the impression that that great black soldier made on those kids in that classroom. They'll never forget him. So that's my lesson to the young people. Courage, key to success in life; sacrifice, key to happiness in life. And a country will not survive unless we grow patriots. And that's what your father-in-law is all about.
Well, amen to that. And I think, General, that's why we really have the palpable sensation across this country in terms of what's at stake right now, because we are losing our patriotism. And I think it's purposeful on a lot of fronts in America right now. And I mean, honestly, I just have chills listening to your story there. And I'm so glad that there are kids out there who've been able to hear that. We need to do more of that. We need to actually talk with our kids in America, in schools, and let them know what is really at stake. This is the greatest country on earth, but it is only great because of people like yourself, because of people like your fellow soldiers there. And honestly, it's so easy to see it slip away. And I don't think there are a lot of young folks who really understand that. It ultimately may be too late by the time they understand it. Before we go, though, I think you just alluded to this when you said that your foxy lady or whatever you were calling your wife, you married her your sophomore year of college, and you had her name painted on your helicopter. I think that's what you were just talking about. So I just need to know, because I got to relay this to my husband, Eric Trump. How is he supposed to compete with that? Am I allowed to ask him now, maybe to paint my name on the side of his car? What should I do with this information? Because I absolutely love that.
Has he got an airplane?
No.
No?
No.
Okay.
But I'll
well,
tell him to get one and to put my name on it now that we've had this conversation.
Well, what's your middle name?
It's
Laura?
Lee, Lea, Lara Lee.
Laura Lee. Well, Nancy Lee. That was my wife's name.
There we
And
go.
so he could paint that. We just had a tremendous, they're building a Medal of Honor museum in Arlington, Texas. Jones
nice.
family, guys that own the Charlotte Jones, great patriotic family, a $300 million museum.
Wow.
That's dedicated to the medal recipients, but the values side of the medal, not the bang bang hero stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Heroism is interesting, but it's only useful in as much as it's inspirational. Inspire young people, transform young people, they become patriots. So this museum is built around that concept. Now, there's a portion of the museum that's dedicated to the dust-off operation in Vietnam, the greatest life-saving thing in the history of mankind. And my helicopter just went in there last week. And it's called the Nancy Lee. And so they hoisted it up. The last fly stuck that sucker in there. And so generations from now will say, who in the hell was Nancy Lee?
Well, they can watch this show and they'll know. I love that. What a beautiful tribute. What an incredible thing. And I know that you fairly recently lost your wife. Is that right?
Yes, I did.
Oh, I'm so sorry. It sounds like you had such an incredible life together. And I'm sure in all of those moments where you were really literally fighting for your life and fighting to save the lives of our heroes overseas, I'm sure she was always with you in spirit and was a constant focus for you. So I think it's so appropriate to have her name painted on the side of your helicopter. And don't think for a second, I'm not telling my husband after we talk what he needs to do now, because I think this is a great bar, General, to set for him. I'm just going to throw it out there. But I really want to say thank you so much. Thank you again. I know I said it at the beginning, but I truly mean it. Thank you for your service. Thank you for taking the time to talk with us today, but also all that you've done to inspire and encourage kids, our next generations out there. I think it is vital to the future of this country. And so, Medal of Honor recipient, Major General Pat Bradley, thank you for being with us here tonight on The Right View.
My pleasure.
All right, to everybody at home, as always, make sure you like, subscribe, share, and follow, and we'll see you back here next time for more of The Right View. And I won't back down. Hey, baby, there ain't no easy way out.
Nothing is worse than being on a phone call that drops. Nothing is worse than trying to text someone and you can't reach them because your phone is out of service range. And nothing is worse than supporting these major corporations and companies who don't support us. That is why I love Patriot Mobile. They are America's only Christian conservative wireless network. They use every cell tower out there available to all networks so that they have the greatest 4G and 5G coverage nationwide, and they support the causes that are important to us as conservatives. If you go today to patriotmobile.com/Lara Trump and use the promo code Trump, you will get free activation today. Again, that is patriotmobile.com/Lara Trump. The promo code is Trump for free activation so that you can get a great cell plan and feel good about doing it.